We all know the deal. If you're a vigilante superhero, you hide who you really are. If not just for your own safety, but so you can sleep comfortably in your own bed at night. But some superheroes choose to just not do that. And these are our top 10 who need to start. Number 10. I'll get this out of the way. When you are a giant rock man, there's no need for a secret identity. There's nothing you can do about that. It's like when the Ninja Turtles used to wear trench coats. It is what it is, and when you are shaped like that, there isn't anything you can do. So in his case, the Thing can justify not having a secret identity. That said, I can't say the same for the rest of them. Sure, Johnny's sister is Susan Storm. Susan Storm is married to Reed Richards, so those relationships are covered. But at this stage, Susan and Reed have 2 kids. And regardless of the fact that those 2 kids have impressive powers, their very existence makes them a target for more experienced, powerful enemies to use them as bargaining chips. So for the sake of their kids, I'm saying they need to start hiding. Number 9. There's a few rules about secret identities that Jay didn't quite get. But that's okay. He was one of the early ones, we'll let him slide. First is, you hide your face, lest any enemies should learn who your loved ones are. And number 2 is don't use your powers in civilian mode unless it can't be helped. Meanwhile, Jay does not wear a mask and casually plays tennis with his super speed. Evidently Jay's loved ones matter less to him than a romp at the country club. Come on, Jay. Don't be the bougie Flash. Number 8. Namor's biggest problem is probably just the fact that he goes by his name. Sometimes he's the SUBMARINER, but more often I see his name in full. Now, granted he's like part mermaid, part mutant and lives in the ocean, so no one's really gonna go after him in public, but his costume is literally just a Speedo. He doesn't even really need the name SUBMARINER. It's not so much a secret identity as it is his beach outfit. I feel like if he put on a t-shirt and used some conditioner, he'd be a completely different person. Number 7. Tony Stark. Once again, way too famous, way too rich, way too noticeable. I get that in that situation it would be really difficult to maintain a secret identity since you'd literally be disappearing all the time, and then suddenly Iron Man would show up, but that's how it's always worked. And frankly, with that level of notoriety, you're going to attract people who are going to try to target you when you're defenseless. Now, granted, Tony is able to account for that with portable Iron Man suits, but what about everyone around him? Anyone accompanying him anywhere could immediately be a target. It wouldn't be hard to figure out where the other Avengers are, just follow Tony Stark around until you've found Captain America. Speaking of, number 6. Alright, so Captain America has gone back and forth on having a secret identity. And right now, he doesn't really need one now that he's generally portrayed as being time displaced, meaning most of his loved ones are dead. But originally, being publicly acknowledged as Steve Rogers would be painting a big crosshair on everyone around him, just like it would any other superhero. Not to mention his status as a war hero effectively makes him a target for terrorist groups. Not the best guy to ditch the secret identity. That said, I can kind of understand why this was totally ditched, as it was a symbolic gesture in the wake of 9/11, so yeah, I'm not taking a hard stance on him. Number 5. These guys get a slight pass because their backstories generally don't include having loved ones to worry about. That's not to say they don't have them, but when you're an ally to people like this, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. That said, they are kind of notorious throughout the galaxy, so the smartest thing they could do would be to hide who they really are. I mean, not that it can be easy to hide a tree or a talking raccoon. That generally will give you away pretty quickly. And any mishmash of people seen with these characters will probably make the secret identity thing a bit moot, but hiding your faces might alleviate some of that. Hopefully anyway. Number 4. This is pretty much the same problem as Superman, except it's somehow worse. Probably because when you have the exact same facial hair as the well-known hero of Star City, it's a tad too obvious who you really are. This is one of those times where having a well-groomed beard is definitely to your disadvantage. Not that I know. Not to mention that he's an incredibly prolific playboy, so it doesn't really take much to put this one together. So I am saying he needs another secret identity. Or at least a shave. Number 3. I mean, look. There's not much you can do when your skin is green and you are 2 feet taller than everybody else. And with She-Hulk, she is actually happy to be in this form. She prefers it. That said, when Bruce Banner is still trying to keep his identity secret outside the MCU, it's pretty much a really obvious connection that you at least know him. And if anyone ever looked into when you got the blood transfusion from him that triggered your transformation, it wouldn't be hard to make associations. I know, she can't hide that she's tall and green. That's fine. You can't put on a mask and make that go away. But maybe close your law practice and don't operate under your real name? I don't know, just a thought. Number 2. This is one thing the Arrowverse got right. Black Canary, aka DINAH Lance, for whatever reason, has chosen not to wear a mask at all, which is fine. But her character is fairly noticeable and generally considered very attractive, which tends to make you stand out. So anyone looking to find her would have a pretty easy time doing so. She wouldn't really blend into a crowd, so a mask or actual secret identity of any kind might give her a slight bit more safety. The Arrowverse interpretations of the character gave her both a mask and at times a wig, so it did try to disguise her a considerable amount more. So, points to the Arrowverse on this one. Number 1. Jon Stewart seems completely unconcerned with anyone knowing who he is. His costume is literally just a shirt and pants. At least Jay Garrick wore a hat and moved really fast, so even if you did see him, you might not notice. Jon is just being the Green Lantern, plainly visible to anyone, and while still working as either an architect or a US Marine veteran. Put a mask on, Jon. Everyone else is doing it. And those are our top 10 superheroes who need secret identities. Yeah, I'm not sure why these guys didn't bother with trying to hide themselves. I suppose that can be attributed to stylistic or story choices by the authors and artists, which is fine too, but I am generally an advocate for a full face mask or a helmet when possible, just to keep them guessing. Anyway, have a good one.